Blessed be everybody. In this video, we're going to be doing a bit of an examination on the evil eye, the mati, the nazar, or the buri nazar, or in Japan, my favorite term for it, the jashi, and what this malediction is, how it gets to work, where it comes from, and just what is going on and how to protect yourself, and also clear up some maybe very modern misunderstandings about what is going on when such a malediction is employed. Malediction is just a very fancy pants English major term for all things relating to spiritual attacks, psychic vampirism, curses, hexes, spiritual afflictions, or spiritual defilements or corruptions. And I like to use that term because I don't like to just rattle off like that over and over and over again. The evil eye is not a new phenomenon. It is going through a bit of a renaissance when it comes to its observation, right? This last couple of years, everyone's like, wearing their protection amulets and all of that good stuff. But it goes back a very, very long ways and back in many, many different cultures, right? This is several millennia old as an understanding of what can occur with different kinds of energetic and spiritual exchanges between individuals. And that is one thing to keep in mind when it comes to the evil eye. It is not a malediction that comes with regards to, say, entities or, demonic activity or hauntings or things like that. It is a malediction that is strictly reserved to exchanges from individual to individual. Now, a lot of people associate the evil eye with envy and jealousy. And while that is true, because that is one of the spaces historically where the evil eye might go to work, there are a lot of other spaces or exchanges or feelings or circumstances that have been left out of the conversation. And you can see this if you study, the history of the evil eye, especially going back and looking into what was going on in Greece or in the Balkans or again, even in Japan. And the reason I'm referencing Japan now is because personally, I think that the term jashi is probably the most apt for describing what is going on with the evil eye. Jashi meaning, just based on the kanji characters themselves, defiling vision or defiling gaze or evil gaze or wicked vision or evil gaze or corrupting vision. And when you have a situation where that is getting employed, what happens is, whether you want to call it the evil eye, the mati, or jashi, or whatever, one individual is directing their energies, their thoughts, their imperatives, agendas, demands, feelings, and emotions into another individual, establishing a link that is non-consensual and directing all of those energies, thoughts, imperatives, emotions into that individual or into that situation, corrupting and defiling their energy field and what they've got going on, right? It is a very basic hex. It is a very basic psychic attack. I think that envy is probably the most easily understood by people, right? When we talk about two individuals and then one, person A and person B are here and person A is like, I don't want you to have what you have, or I want what you have, or you don't deserve what you have, or I want to see you, your downfall. Or maybe they are in a space where they're just kind of like, I want to destroy what you have. If I can't have it, no one can. And so they direct all of those energies into person B. But envy and jealousy, that's just one area where, again, the evil eye can occur. It's not commonly talked about now, but historically it was also associated with excessive praise, fawning behavior, cloying, grasping, clutching behavior, neediness, any kind of excessive or over-the-top adulation. When we look at that kind of situation, right, maybe it's not the person saying, I want to see you suffer or fail or anything along those lines, right? They're not directing that, but what they're doing is they're creating a different kind of non-consensual exchange. Maybe person A is sending a lot of fawning, obsequious, needy energy at person B and still messing all of their energy up. And so it could be, I want you to do this for me, or I want you to be with me, I want you to like me, I worship you, and you are the reason the sun rises, and you are fantastic, and you're gonna save the world, and you're the best there is, and you're my guru, or I need you to give me this, think of me, or I want you to give me attention, like that kind of thing. A lot of those projections of thoughts, right? It's almost like person A is praying to person B, but also dumping all of the negativity that's making them do that into person B as well, and creating a malediction or an affliction out of the situation. So no, it's not just envy. In fact, it's any kind of situation where an individual gets so fixated on a particular person or a particular circumstance that they open that link and then dump or project their thoughts, commands, imperatives, compulsions, and energies into it, and then defile the object of their vision. The evil eye itself can be a one-off experience where the link or the exchange happens in that moment. A bunch of energy is dumped into person B in this situation, and then the link is closed and person A kind of walks off. Or it can be a situation where if left unchecked, or say for instance person A is particularly fixated or obsessed, it can create a cord over time, holding that link open and consistently dumping in energy. That energy becomes denser and creates a link that must be cut. The evil eye itself is not something that just kind of happens randomly. It requires a certain amount of intensity and again, focus and fixation in order to get employed and go to work. This would require person A in this situation, whether they were coming from a place of envy, jealousy, or obsession, fixation, or fawning, or attachment, or lust, or greed, or whatever, to become fixated on their target and have their emotions and their energies themselves, be extremely intense as they concentrate their fixation or concentrate that energy exchange and direct it onto that person. You can see this a lot, especially when it comes to novice spiritual practitioners as well. And this is something that you do need to be careful of, especially now that we're kind of in a, we're coming out of a phase where everything was all about healing and fixation and self-fascination and fascination with others. The evil eye, has been a lot more prevalent in recent history, in my opinion, than it ever was, before about 10 years ago. And I think that since people have a tendency to indulge their fixations more now, or even justify them, they're on a journey, they don't seem to be caring about what they're doing, even when they find out that that's what they're doing. They've already created sort of a bias towards their dysfunctional behavior. And so it's important to know when to shut things off and how to properly care for, what you're doing and what you're creating. I was actually inspired to make this video after giving a reading to a client, I think about a couple of weeks ago. Really nice girl. And she was concerned about some kind of spiritual attack that she was suffering. And I'm not the type of reader to just immediately jump in and say, this is a hex, or this is a curse, or this is a psychic vampire. There are a lot of scammers out there that, will do that right out the gate, and then they will start trying to price gouge and, exploit vulnerable people. But when somebody comes to me and brings that up right away, I will honor the question and I will look into it. And what I saw in the reading was she was sort of getting hit on all sides from the evil eye, the mati, the jashi. She was getting it from all kinds of different people and in all kinds of different capacities with all kinds of different motivations. Envy and jealousy, yes, but also excessive praise and also excessive fawning behavior and also lust. And when I looked into that with her, I saw, okay, well, it kind of came out that she was, she's got an Instagram. She's really, on the fitness journey there. She does post pictures, and she's got a lot of people coming through. And I was like, okay, so this is where this is happening, right? This is happening online. This is happening to you from people that are following you. Because it was very clear this was not coming from anyone in her immediate vicinity. This wasn't coming from people at the gym. This wasn't coming from people at work. But there was a very strong sense that there was a presence very close by and yet not close by at the same time. And what ended up coming out was, yeah, she was getting, a lot of fawning and obsessive behavior from her followers that were draining her, right? Again, people essentially dumping their energies, their needs, their own issues towards her, even in good faith. They were still defiling her, even essentially praying to her. By the way, guys, don't pray to living people. Don't direct your thoughts like that. Please, you're just defiling the people that you're talking to. And don't whine about it in the comments below. Just stop. If you watch this video and you've realized you've done that, just stop. That's better than apologizing. The other thing that I noticed was going on was that she was getting a lot of envy from one particular girl that had become a bit of a rival. And there were some other issues, but I don't want to divulge too much about the reading because now we're going into her personal business. But nevertheless, we were having, there was a situation going on with her where the evil eye was basically getting dumped on her from left and right. And so we did spend some time talking about, okay, this is how you clear it. This is what you do. And when it comes to your own spiritual, practice and things like that, you can and you should be sending energy, whether it's setting up a grid or it's lighting candles, to protect your digital works, your digital creations, right? So your platforms, your posts, your accounts and things like that. You might want to set up a deflecting shield around them. That's what I've got on all of my social media. I have a reflector, so it's like return to sender. I probably would have more subscribers if I didn't return to every person who dumped negativity on my page, the negativity they send to me. I'm like, nope, go back to your life. I want to see how it manifests for you. But I'm not going to take it off. She needed to do that too. And so, that's what she went and did. Social media and the digital world is a very interesting addition to our culture, to our lifestyle. And that includes, dealing with spiritual matters as well. You can pick up negative energies or toxic entities or thought forms or projections or the evil eye through social media. That is very, very possible, especially because you might not know the spiritual or emotional state of the person on the other end. And if they are the type of person that probably developed a habit at a very young age of directing their thoughts, emotions, energies, and imperatives into others in order to force them to experience or do this or that, right? Try to control their volition, then they might actually be hexing or cursing or damaging a lot of people around them. And not necessarily either understanding, or maybe they do understand, but they just don't care that that's what they are doing. The internet is a conduit. Digital matter still exists somewhere, and it can accumulate energy, right? On the non-physical, it's just another non-physical plane of reality. And so it's important to know how to take care of yourself. It's important to take care when it comes to social media, especially in a world or in a time, I should say, rather, where, again, we're kind of coming out of a phase where we've all been expected to be overly involved with people's state of mind. And a lot of people have decided to drag, commandeer, and steal other people's time and energy for their own sustenance, survival, ideas, pain suppression, or journey work. You are absolutely put on notice right now to take better protection when it comes to that. And I'm not talking to the girl I talked to. I already talked to her. I'm talking to you. Because the evil eye is more than just, something that goes on from, individual to individual on the physical. It can also happen at a distance, but in my experience, it is something that requires a send and deliver, or some kind of exchange, whether it's, again, in person or over the phone, through messages, through posts, through comments, through emails and things like that, or calls. It does not matter. There has to be some kind of point of contact, even if only for a little while, or even as an impersonal exchange. And so, of course, make sure that you cleanse, make sure that you're keeping good spiritual hygiene. That is your responsibility as a spiritual practitioner. That is your responsibility as a student. Now, left unchecked, this can become a malediction that will eventually spread out to other corners of your world. And it can affect other people, it can affect your space, and it can put you in a way where suddenly you are no longer spiritually or energetically sovereign with what is allowed to and not allowed to manifest in your life. Remember, this is, at the end of the day, regardless of the motivations, a hex and eventually sometimes a curse. And so you want to make sure that you are not stewing in it, right? You are here on this channel watching this video as a student of the craft. I do not run a spiritual hospital. I teach, and that is what is going on here. This is something that the faster you deal with it, the better. But we do need to talk about alerts, and alerts in the form of symptoms can be your best friend. When it comes to symptoms of psychic attacks, the evil eye, spiritual attacks, things like that, we get them long before they manifest anything in our physical reality experience. So I'm not saying we should be grateful for feeling symptoms. They're very uncomfortable and very inconveniencing, and just all in all take a considerable toll on our day, our energy, and our spiritual health, and sometimes even our physical health. But we need to be able to catch the alerts as they are, which symptoms can be looked at as, in order to prevent, a week down the road, 2 weeks down the road, more manifesting in our life circumstances. So what does the recipient go through? The recipient or the receiver of the psychic attack, what are the symptoms, especially when it comes to the evil eye? And then after this segment, we're of course going to be talking about cleansing, clearing, and protection techniques. So don't worry, that's there too. That's why this video has chapters. One of the telltale signs that there is an attack like this going on or being directed at you is a sudden feeling of enclosure, feeling like you are not alone, almost like you are being held within or underneath an energetic weighted blanket. And no, it is not a comfortable feeling. It's actually a very dense, very crushing kind of feeling. It's almost like you are feeling yourself being squeezed. That is the best basic way that I can describe that. There's also a feeling of being hovered around or hovered over that can come from that. And a lot of the times it is a sense of hovering because you are, in a way, getting hovered over. You are getting hovered over by the sender, by the one directing the energy or initiating the attack. And it can feel very bunching, right? You can get very bunched up because of that. It can be very difficult to concentrate. Another symptom that can come from this is pressure, a very strong pressure, especially around the brow line, around the third eye. Now, this can happen for a number of different reasons. There are a lot of really bad, poor quality discussions around the third eye and how it works, and energy exchanges and thought exchanges and telepathy and things like that out there. And when you have that kind of pressure on your third eye, that often happens when there is somebody attempting to control what you think, what you see, or trying to impose something for you to think or something for you to see. You may also feel drained. You may feel like your energy is getting drained, especially if it is more of a pull type of attack as opposed to maybe a push. And there are different ones to talk about there, or different elements to that will come up in another video, but we'll keep it simple here. And when you're starting to feel drained, right, you're going to be getting tired, you might be losing focus, and it almost feels physically like you are aware of the heat leaving your body, right? This dissipation of your own body heat. You might not necessarily be getting cold, but it's almost an awareness that there is something seeping out of you, kind of getting pulled from your own body and your closest energy fields, your etheric body, and all of that. And so it's almost like you become aware of a vapor that is your life force leaving you. You may be experiencing intrusive thoughts, especially ones centered around a particular person, situation, or fear. However, I do want to say this right now. I am not saying that mental health and mental illness and mental differentials do not exist. You know, some people have intrusive thoughts. I have OCD myself, and it's very important for me to be able to differentiate between an OCD intrusive thought and a psychic attack. And so I don't want anyone to think that, you know, spirituality is a way to cut the line or to somehow avoid responsibility for becoming aware, educated, and masterful with their mental health. But intrusive thoughts can be a part of that experience. It can be very difficult sometimes for those of us who may have those as part of, again, our own neurobiology, so you might want to defer to a different symptom at that point in time, but that is a part of it, and I wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. You may feel a constant and unyielding sense of dread, especially when you are around either the person or if you are linked to that person or you are in a space that they have claimed for themselves. This is especially prominent in, say, office spaces, family situations, things like that, where you may be doing something, going somewhere, or saying something that is, let's just say, getting the spiritual disapproval or condemnation of the attacker, something they don't want you to do. You're getting punished with that dread. You may feel also a pain, a pinch, or some kind of condensing around an important energy center that can tell you a bit more about what your attacker is trying to do to you. Typically, they will form around the third eye, the solar plexus, or the sacral chakra points, or even the throat. They can also attach to the throat. If you are feeling that pulsing, almost like there is some kind of hook in, say, your solar plexus, this is somebody attempting to command you, right? This is the center of our willpower, our volition. So there may be something going on where somebody is trying to command you to do something according to their will or their imperative. There is an attempt to control you, dominate you, get you to behave or do something in a way that is to their liking. The sacral chakra, right, could be a situation where somebody has become attached to you and has developed an intimate fixation with you, whether it is something sexual or emotional. Interestingly enough, the heart doesn't take on attachments, right? The heart is the core and sort of the gateway of the soul. It can't have a cord attached there. So almost by default, that kind of emotional, intimate, sexual, or romantic, or lust-driven type of thing ends up having to go down to the sacral chakra because it's never going to get to the true heart. The throat typically shows up as a punishment. You have said or already heard something you weren't supposed to in the eyes of the attacker. If you are feeling a pressure over your third eye, this is a veil being thrown up. This is an image being blocked or being projected. This is something that is trying to create or impose some kind of illusion or impression. You may feel a pressure on the back of your neck. I call it Shelob's sting because I'm a Lord of the Rings nerd. This often happens where Somebody who is abusive or manipulative of another person is trying to maybe get you away from the person that they are abusing or manipulating. I've seen that happen sometimes. A toxic person is like, don't talk to this person, don't say this to that person. Or even with the sting in the back of the neck, there may also be a deposit. This person may be dumping their own spiritual or energetic or emotional toxicity into you. You may feel, if there is a link or it is being engaged, that you are not alone, that there is somebody in the room with you, but it is not a spirit, it's not an entity, and if you're a medium like me, and you attempt communication with the presence in a room that will not talk back to you and will not give you any kind of meaningful or intelligible messages, you're either dealing with a thought form or a poltergeist, or you are dealing with an attacker. And so it's important to, just keep note of those things and be ready to cleanse and prepare and protect yourself for whatever is going on. Even if you do protect yourself, there are points sometimes where you will be making yourself vulnerable. We are going to talk about protection here in a second, but I did want to preface this by saying, look, we all know how to open and close doors in the physical. We all know how to set up locks and alarms in the physical, but all locks and all doors and all windows do open and shut. And sometimes we end up in situations where doors open and shut. I myself have to deal with this kind of thing a lot. Maybe once or twice a week, I will end up, resetting my protections, for the new stuff. Or maybe you are in an exchange, you're on a phone call or a Zoom meeting with somebody, or a financial transaction has occurred, right? Those exchanges do go beyond barriers. And so this isn't about, the sort of salvation consciousness thing where how can I find a spiritual thing that will save me forever and I'll never have to be spiritually disciplined again. That is just not possible. It is going to require, again, the discipline and the maturity that you would associate with a full contact martial art if you're going to do this well. Also, when it comes to protection spells and protection works and wards and things like that, protecting yourself and your space and your energy does not block you from becoming aware that an attack is happening. And that is very important. You do need to know what is going on. You do need to know who is infesting your space. You do need to know what is going on with the energy in your world. And I think that because a lot of people might be very frightened of this kind of thing, or they may have some other challenges or difficulties or circumstances with their own space, environment, or their health that they are dealing with, sometimes they might think, okay, well, my protection isn't working because I'm aware that somebody's attacking, or I'm aware that something is trying to come in, or I'm aware of a sensation. You do need to be clued into what is going on. You always do. You don't want to be the type of person who says, I just want to have pain suppression and numbness spiritually, because you'll never know what is happening in your space or what is happening with other people. What protection spells and protections work do is they get rid of the attack and the consequences of the attack and the power of the attacker. And that is the most important thing you can do. But you do need to have a certain level of awareness of what is going on in your life, right? That is just common sense. And so if you are finding that you have protected yourself, but you are aware that, this person or this situation is still holding a lot of negativity, don't freak out just because you're becoming aware of it. You are protected, but you need to be aware of it. So that being said, let's talk about protection. So how do you protect yourself from the evil eye? A lot of people like to work with the Hamsa or wear the Hamsa, which is the blue charm that you might see. Sometimes it's just a blue eye, or it is a blue hand with an eye, and that is intended to ward off the evil eye, right? The way it works is that it actually gives the eye see you. message to whoever is directing this, kind of throws them off their guard and returns all of that energy back to its sender as well. You can, if you don't have a Hamsa, I don't have a Hamsa, you can always substitute other protection tools in order to achieve the same end. Originally, the Hamsa, which again has its origins back in the Middle East, was made out of lapis lazuli. And so if you have lapis lazuli, you can always also focus on erecting a shield around yourself. What I like to do, if I can, is sometimes I will employ the prana mudra. Okay, the prana mudra, thumb to ring finger, 2 fingers straight up. And this helps create a column. The prana mudra helps to balance all of your energies and get all of your energy centers, your meridians, working in a bit more of a good sync. And then it also helps raise your energy up to kind of give you a little bit of a stronger, more fortified aura, fortified energy field, as well as helps to create more robust protection and resilience around yourself. You might notice sometimes people will bring this up or work with this mudra when they are looking to manifest something energetically around themselves. So you could manifest, a sphere or an egg. Sometimes I like to use a box or a rectangle, something that I can enclose myself in with reflective surfaces that return to sender. You can also use this to call back energy that might be getting stolen from you after your conversation or exchange with that person. And you can just simply say in this now, all energies ever stolen from me be now wholly and completely restored and returned to me, completely purified, cleansed and clear and blessed. And so it is. And in that moment as well, you can even say, if you're not sure, you can be like, all right, higher self, take care of it. I surrender this to my higher self, make it so. And then have all of that energy rush back to you. In that situation, you might find that the other person may try to attempt to reconnect or reconvene or converse with you because they just lost the energy they tried to take from you. But you will be able to then be ready for them and, again, wall yourself up, be more sufficiently protected, and then go on. If you want to work with aromas like incense or essential oils and things like that, you can wear frankincense oil or apply frankincense oil. It is a beautiful cleanser and protector 2-in-1. You can, of course, burn any kind of sage or cedar. You might want to add more to your procedure if you are looking to cleanse and clear with sage. As I mentioned in another video I made a little while ago, sage is kind of the fire extinguisher, but if the fire gets too big, we need to be bringing more to the table. So if it is a very light exchange or it's just sort of a mild or simple inconvenience, or you can tell it's there but it's not like a really, really big deal, sage by itself would be fine, especially if there's no link. But you might want to go a little bit harder if, things are really, really rough. You can take a bath in sea salt or Epsom salt with a couple of drops of lemon or eucalyptus oil. I'm always singing the praises of that combination. Eucalyptus is one of the most powerful energy cleansers and clearers there is, and lemon does help to cut cords. Or you can maybe use a bath wash that has lemon in it or lemon essential oil in it, and then cleanse yourself with, say, sage, or cleanse yourself with cedar or lavender or something else that you may have about you. If you are about to get into a situation where it is highly spiritually sensitive, or you are about to engage with someone that has inflicted the evil eye or jashi on you before, and you want to prevent that exchange again, you can burn a red candle or a black candle or a white candle that has been anointed with a combination of frankincense or lemon or clove. You can use all three if you want, and maybe sprinkle a little bit of thyme, the herb thyme, onto the candle as well. Charge it up, get your energy in there, and that will also serve as a protection to repel any energy or any links that this person might be trying to establish. The reason I like to add thyme in there is because thyme is also a really good herb for truth spells and truth magic, and it dispels lies, illusions, distortions, or any kind of, veils that might be around. And so what can happen is that it forces the truth to come out and exist, but also prevents a lot of the thoughts being projected from even getting to you. And it also scares the hell out of the people that are in that situation. It kind of puts them in a situation where they feel like they're on the hot seat, because they've probably built up a life or a lifestyle of living this way or conducting themselves or getting what they want this way. It kind of puts them, in an experience where they're, kind of shook and kind of shaken, and they just don't do anything at that point in time, and they're forced to behave themselves. Not because you told them to or took away their free will or volition or anything, but it kind of demoralizes the malefic behavior that they might be inclined to bring. And again, I've got more videos on this channel that'll also, help give you some ideas for ways you might want to protect yourself. So you can also check that out. And if you do want to protect your social media, your posts, your videos, your accounts, and things like that, you can use the same combination: clove, frankincense, and you can use lemon and then a bit of thyme, a red, black, or white candle. Just write the name of your account, or you can say all of my social media accounts, all of my digital creations, all of my digital works, however you want to do it. Just write that on the candle or on a piece of paper beneath the candle, charge it up, and you're good to go. Frankincense will keep it clear and protected, clove will return to sender, and lemon will eliminate attachments, and thyme will remove and dispel illusions and veils, as well as lies and deceit. And yes, it will also scare away liars and fabricators, and anyone who might be trying to create a reality out of lies. So those are some ways, again, you can protect yourself, but there's tons of different ways you can take care of yourself there too. Oh my God, look at the time. Okay, so this was intended to be a little chat about the evil eye, and then it just grew from there. But, that's just how I do. I hope that you have found this helpful, and, if you did enjoy this video, please don't forget to leave a comment, like, and subscribe. I appreciate it, and of course, engagement helps this channel grow. And, let me know in the down bar below if you've found any protection techniques that have really helped you in the past. And, if there's anything you would like to expand upon in this conversation, please leave a comment in the down bar below, because we would love to come back and talk about it some more. It's a fascinating phenomena. It's a very old phenomena. And it's something that, you can also learn a lot about magic and how magic works when you are, examining these kinds of things. So you take care, and I will see you all again soon.